What caused the American Revolution? Like many disputes, this one began over two things: money and respect. It all started in the 1760s, when the British government needed to pay for the French and Indian Wars and turned to the colonies for cash. The first thing they did was require the colonists to buy heavily taxed British goods like sugar.
Americans used sugar to make rum. This was one of the major products of the American economy. And when it became clear that this rum was going to be more expensive, the Americans objected. They wanted their cheap booze.
Parliament said, okay, we get it, and eventually repealed the Sugar Act in 1766, but continued to impose other taxes. In 1765, the government issued the Stamp Act.
The Stamp Act seemed like an even bigger deal than the Sugar Act. The Stamp Act said that legal documents, almost anything on paper, pamphlets, newspapers, playing cards, all of those things needed to have an official stamp that you had to pay for.
To get a stamp, the colonist had to pay a collector. They weren't happy about that.
You really didn't want to be a stamp collector at this point in American history. All the hatred was taken out on them. They had their houses attacked, they had rocks thrown at their windows.
The Stamp Act was eventually repealed, but in 1767, the British tried again with the Townshend Acts, taxing essential imports like paper, glass, and tea.
The Townshend Acts were more taxes. The Americans figured we got rid of the Stamp Act by protest. We'll get rid of the Townshend Acts by protest as well.
The British repealed the Townshend Acts, though they did pass something new, a Tea Act, which gave their own tea merchants a big advantage in the colonial marketplace. We all know how that ended. On December 16, 1773, the colonists dumped 90,000 pounds of tea into Boston Harbor. The British were not happy, pushing back with laws designed to show just who was boss. The colonists hated these, calling them the Intolerable Acts. One, the Quartering Act, forced colonists to give British soldiers food and bedding.
The British figured that they were going to make a statement. We are the people who run this place, not you. The Quartering Act, the other Intolerable Acts, were really a test of strength to see who was stronger, who's going to govern in America. The British said it's us, and the Americans increasingly said, no, it's not.
The Intolerable Acts actually helped to spark something of an American us at a really critical early point of what comes to be the American Revolution.
On April 19, 1775, us versus them became reality as the American Revolution began with a shot heard round the world at Lexington Common.